Hi guys, it's Porphyria Gomez, aka the Domestic Mommy, and I'm going to show you how to make this great faux fur handcuff to keep your hands nice and warm during this winter and to look really chic while doing it. I found this beautiful fur piece that was in a big box of fabrics at my local fabric store, so I got it for about $2 a yard. So it was about 3 yards in it, so it wasn't too costly, and it worked out perfect to create this great hand warmer. It's very warm. I actually made a shawl out of it as well, and I'll bring you a video about that another time. But this is pretty much how you get started. I cut my first piece into a 24 by 24 inch of fabric, and you're just gonna fold it into itself, but I want you to fold it on the fur side. So you just fold it in, and then once we fold it, we're going to make sure that each seam meets the other, and we're going to pin that together. So all I want you guys to do is grab some pins and make sure you pin it correctly. A good idea to do with this fabric is I did a light iron on the wrong side just to make sure I got all the creases and I was able to pin it correctly, and I think I used about 4 to 6 pins. So let's just pin that piece together and we'll get started on the next step. Okay, I'm at my sewing machine. I want you guys to just thread it. I used a pretty durable thread that works really well with using fabrics like this. So you want to make sure you use a heavy count thread that can penetrate this type of fabric, and your needle strong enough to penetrate it as well. You could do this by hand, but I'm going to use a sewing machine just because I'm pressed for time and I wanted to do this really quickly. So I did a very close seam, and I just stitched one good stitch straight across, and that pretty much was it. Okay guys, it's all seamed, it's perfect. I'm just going to show you just how I did it. Some of the fur got into it, but that's okay because I wanted to hide. And now I'm just going to turn it inside out, and you're going to get this nice little tube, which is perfect. And as you can see, the seam, I'm losing the seam. Where's the seam? Okay, I found it again. Yeah, so it's perfect, and now we're going to pull together the other 2 seams. So now I have 4 seams together, and this becomes the easy part. So we're going to take the 4 pieces together and we're going to just stitch them together. Now you can add a piece inside of this, but I'm not going to do that. I just prefer to just stitch the 2 seams inside and just make it quick and simple. But I will be bringing you another video on how you can line it with some yarn, or you can line it with some felt or some cotton if you want additional warmth. So just pin the 4 pieces together, and once you pin them, it's really hard. Make sure you can see them. Push the fabric back as far as you can, but make sure you're able to see where you pin. I'm using these quilt pins that have the colorful top, so I can actually see where I'm putting these pins. So make sure you look for pins that have a nice visible color so you can see what you're doing while you pin them. And I'm going to seam the rest of this by hand, guys. So I have this quilting thread, which is really tough, and I really love it, and I have the largest needle I actually have in my home, and you can get this at any 99-cent store. They're really thick, or you can pick it up at your local craft store as well, and it's able to just penetrate through these 4 seams that I have. So I'm just going to do a regular hand stitch straight across, and in a few minutes, I guess that will be it, guys. So let's get the sewing. Now I did forget to mention that you have to make sure you keep an eye on the four pieces of fabric, the 4 seams. Keep an eye on them because you want to make sure you sew those together. I went a little lower just to ensure that I was stitching all the seams together and I wasn't missing any of them. And as I stitch together, I'm taking out the pins that I put in. Some of my pins actually got lost in this stitch, so please make sure you take your time, you push back some of the fur, and make sure you watch the seams. You could cut along the seam to cut away some of that faux fur fabric, but at the end just make sure you tie a quick knot to your seam or your stitch or your thread, and then you should be good to go. And that pretty much was it. There's a pin. Let me get this extra one. But that's it. I checked for extra pins, and that is a wrap, guys. I have a faux fur cuff that I adore and love, and you can see me here wearing it with my tulle skirt that I made, and I hope to bring some videos about in the future because the skirt was so fun to make. It's very chic little cuff that, you know, just brings a little vintage glam to any woman. So guys, thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials in the future. Bye.